Hi, this is Gail Purith, and today I want to talk about something that might seem kind of unusual to you. It's about books that face backward on my bookshelf. By that I mean that I put the title and the cover backwards so you can only see the pages. Why do I do this? Well, sometimes I buy books specifically to better understand their errors, researching them so that I can share on Bible Love Notes some of the problems that they contain. For example, I've done that with Jesus Calling and The Shack and Boundaries books. And I put these facing backwards because I don't want somebody to come into the room where my bookshelves are and assume that I like those books. The only book, actually, now I'm not saying that every book that's facing forward, I believe everything that's written in it. I don't. The only one that would be true of is the Bible, and I do believe everything that's written in it. But I think that we're to really be careful how we present ourselves and what things we present, that we read, that we study, people that we speak to, listen to, who speak, and teachers and pastors and such as that. So I tend to flip books backwards if there's any question in my mind. And recently, I had to flip Philip Yancey's book backwards. And this is because God commands us in Matthew 7:15 through 20, not only to judge the fruit of a person's teaching, but also to judge the fruit of their lives. And Yancey recently confessed to having an 8-year-long affair, sinning against his wife of 55 years, sinning against God, most importantly, and also helping another woman to sin against her family. All the while he's doing this, he's writing books and presenting himself in ministry and various talks and on various shows. You know, we all sin, and sometimes we have a sin that we have to deal with for many years. We have to try to get rid of it, try to get accountability and help. But the problem is when instead of fighting our sins, we begin to enjoy them. And enjoying a sin for 8 years, all the while representing Christianity, is a serious problem. Um, all sexual sins, especially, are damaging. We're told in 1 Corinthians 6:9 through 20, our bodies are members of Christ Himself. All other sins a person commits are outside the body, but whoever sins sexually sins against their own body. Sexual sins do more damage. So I pray that Yancey will take the steps that he needs to restore his faith and his marriage and his discernment. His life should inspire us to do the same, to be very careful when we see someone who we've respected who falls in this way and continues in that sin for 8 years. It should make us be even more deliberate about guarding our hearts. We're told to do that in Proverbs 4:23. We're told to flee temptation in 2 Timothy 2:22. We're told to take God's exit plan in 1 Corinthians 10:13. And if you don't know what that means, please look up 1 Corinthians 10:13 and understand God's exit plan. And we're also told to be wearing the full armor of God. That's Ephesians 6:8 through 10. You know, often people will compare a Christian who has sinned to David and sort of act as if it's not as important as some people think. But you know, David fully and completely, humbly confessed his sin, but he also suffered consequences for that sin the rest of his life. I also want to encourage you not to be reading anything that Yancey has written in the last 8 years, especially. I looked up some of those things, and I was quite surprised to find that one book that he authored is about a 17th century quote Christian poet named John Donne. I believe that's his name. It's Donne. And this John Donne in the 17th century mixed up violent sex with divine prayer in some of his poems. In one of his poems that's famous, he talked about how it was wrong for a woman to withhold her virginity from him, and how it was okay outside of, even when you were married, to have sex with others. Very disturbing. And yet Yancey took this man, his devotions that he wrote about sickness and suffering, and made a book out of it, did research on it, and added his own insights to that. So I would say I would really stay away from that book when a man who's having an affair is writing about another man who was sexually immoral and had sexually immoral writings, and yet using that to help people understand pain and suffering. So we can see there's some discernment loss there. There may be some good still in some of Yancey's books previously, and I'm not telling you that it's wrong to read them. I'm just saying be very careful what you recommend to people, and be very careful that when you see someone sin like this, that you are all the more eager to guard your own heart. God bless.